morning, boys and girls. Welcome back. After we took our little bit of a break for Easter, we need to kind of remember what we did almost a month ago, which is kind of incredible to think about what we were talking about a month ago. For those of you who attend Faith Baptist Church, today is Only God Sunday, which is, again, as we look back over the last year, we have moved into this new building, this new facility, and all that God has provided for us. So it's an incredible Sunday here for us. And then Peter and I were just reminiscing how it's been over 2 years since we have been doing this. So that seems incredible too. But God is in control, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, everyone who's listening. Only God, pandas too. Only God could provide what he has provided for us here at this facility, and we are so thankful for what he's doing here for Faith Baptist Church, no longer in Warren, but in Clinton Township. So, remembering back, like I said, to a month ago, kind of hard to believe it's been that long ago. Honestly, boys and girls, I had to go back and watch the end to figure out where I had cut the story off because I realized I had not told the whole story the last time. If I keep rambling, I'm not going to get it in this time either. So we're in 1 Samuel chapter number 5. If you want to follow along, chapter number 5. So in chapter 4, we actually ended on a sad note. Eli had fallen over and died, and there were bad things happening in Israel essentially because they weren't doing what God had asked them to do. They had taken the Ark of the Covenant into battle as if it were a good luck charm. And God should not be treated like a good luck charm, boys and girls. Sometimes we treat God that way. We think that he just brings us good luck, or if we get saved, life will be great. We won't have any problems. But boys and girls, his word tells us God is so much more than just a good luck charm. But that's how the Israelites had treated God, and they had taken the Ark of the Covenant into battle, and the Philistines had taken the Ark of the Covenant. And that's where we're going to start talking with not necessarily the Israelites, but with the Philistines, and what is taking place with the Ark of the Covenant while they have it. Because, boys and girls, do you think that God forgot all about the Ark? No, of course not. He didn't forget about the Ark. The Ark is what symbolized him. So the Philistines take the Ark of the Covenant. They take it to the city of Ashdod, where they had a false god Dagon set up. Dagon had the body of a fish, the hands and the head of a man. That's right, head and hands of a man. And then it was a false idol, boys and girls, that the people worshipped, a statue that they had set up. Well, they're so excited because they've captured the God of the Israelites. They put it right next to Dagon and his temple. And verse number 4 is where I want to start reading. In 1 Samuel 5, verse 4. And when they arose early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. And boys and girls, I meant to read verse 3 first, but this happens twice. Okay, so they get up one morning and he's fallen down, he's on his face, and they're like, whoa, what happened to Dagon? And they pick him back up and they stand him back up. So now this is morning number 2 that this has happened. And let's find out what happened continuing in verse 4. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him. Therefore, neither the priests of Dagon nor any that come into Dagon's house tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod unto this day. They came in, so again, this happened 2 mornings. First morning, Dagon's just fallen down. They stand him back up. Boys and girls, if you have a God that you have to stand back up, there's probably a problem there. But anyways, moving on. The second morning, they wake up, they go in, Dagon's fallen over again. I'm not sure what they thought was going to happen, but not only has he fallen over, the palms of his hands are cut off, and his head is cut off of an idol. Okay, so they see that, and then it says that no man has even walked in that spot again. They're like, whoa, something is going on here, something that is beyond us. And they realize they're not following God. They don't know necessarily who God is other than him being the God of the Israelites, but they realize something's up with having this ark, and they're not too fond of having this ark. Well, verse 6, It says, but the hand of the Lord was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and he destroyed them, and smote them with emerods, even Ashdod and the coast thereof. God was angry with this people for taking the Ark of the Covenant. It says his hand was heavy. Boys and girls, that's meant as a negative term, not a positive term. He was judging them. He was punishing them. His hand is heavy on them, and he makes them sick. Well, the people of Ashdod are like, wait a minute, we're tired of being sick. We don't like this, and they send the Ark of the Covenant to another city. They're like, get rid of this Ark of the Covenant. We do not want it in our city. Well, they send it to Gath. And let's read verse 9. Let's find out what happens when it gets to Gath. And it was so that after they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord was against the city with a very great destruction. And he smote the men of the city, both small and great. And they had emerods, and also they're sick too. So in Ashdod, they got sick when the Ark of the Covenant was there. It goes to Gath, and they get sick when the Ark of the Covenant gets there. So they're like, hey, take it away. We don't want it. So they pass it off on to another city. They send it on to Ekron. Verse 10, therefore they sent the ark of God to Ekron, and it came to pass, as the ark of God came to Ekron, that the Ekronites cried out, saying, they have brought about the ark of the God of Israel to us, to slay us and our people. They're like, wait, they're sending the ark here, they're going to kill us. The word had gotten around that the Ark of the Covenant was not a good thing to have in your city, and the people of Ekron were like, get this ark away from us. We don't want it. Well, boys and girls, wherever the Ark of the Covenant went, God brought judgment on those people, because where is the Ark of the Covenant supposed to be? It's supposed to be with the nation of Israel, where his people are. It's supposed to be with the Israelites, because God is the God of the Israelites of the Old Testament, boys and girls. Now, we know God is our God today. I'm not saying that, but historically, where we're talking at this time in the Bible, God is the God of the Israelites. That's where the Ark of the Covenant was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to go from one place to another place to another place. It wasn't meant to go to the Philistines or the Egyptians or anywhere else. The Bible tells us, even as if we were to read on in here, that the Philistines are going, wait a minute, we know what happened in Egypt when the Egyptians went against God. We don't want that to happen to us. Boys and girls, the Philistines are recognizing all of this judgment and all of this punishment that's coming is because they have the Ark of God. Well, at the beginning of chapter 6, it tells us, and the ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. 7 months they're passing the ark around, trying to in a sense, get rid of it, but not get rid of it, because they're proud that they've captured the God of the Israelites. But nobody really wants it in their city. That's right, Peter, captured, used figuratively. You can't really capture God, boys and girls. But the ark that symbolized God, they had. And so the Philistines are like, we have got to do something about this ark. And so they gather their leaders. They're like, what are we going to do about it? Well, they devise this plan, boys and girls. Now, they make this plan that they're going to take 2 milking cows. Okay, so the idea that these are 2 cows who also have 2 calves. Okay, 2 mama cows with baby cows. Okay, and they say, we're going to take these 2 cows, we're going to attach them to a cart, and we're going to put the Ark of the Covenant on it. Well, they also discuss the fact that they realize they've done wrong in taking the Ark of the Covenant. So they they're going to send a trespass offering back with it. They make 5 golden emerods, 5 golden mice, put them on the ark too. It's like their peace offering. Like, take this thing back away from us. Trespass, we know we've done wrong, and we don't want it. We want to send it back. So they talk about this is what they're going to do. And they said, we're going to take the 2 baby cows, the 2 calves, and we're going to take them home. If this is truly the Ark of God that's giving us this trouble, these 2 cows are going to take it to Beth Shemesh. They're going to go straight there. They're going to give it back. They're not going to go for their calves. Boys and girls, if you get separated from your mom, you naturally want to go back to your mom, right? Okay, we've had that at school, at church. Kids, they get separated from their parents. They want to be back with their parents. Well, same thing. The moms want to be with the kids. The mom cows want to be with the baby cows. And so they thought, you know what? If they go back to the baby cows, we know this was just by chance. It wasn't anything to do with their God. this is just by chance. But if the cows go to Beth Shemesh, we know that the Ark of the Covenant belongs to the Israelites, that their God is more powerful. What do you think, boys and girls? 2 cows taken from their babies. What are they going to do? Well, what do you think? What do you think, Peter? Do they go to their babies or do they go to Beth Shemesh? What's your vote? To Beth Shemesh. Okay, so that's exactly what happens, boys and girls. They go to Beth Shemesh. Peter guessed right. Good job, Peter. We're going to kind of skip ahead a little bit and go to verse 19 of chapter 6. The Ark of the Covenant has been returned to Beth Shemesh, so now we're talking about the men of Beth Shemesh. And he smote the men of Beth Shemesh because they had looked into the ark of the Lord. Even he smote of the people 50,010 men. And the people lamented because the Lord had smitten many of the people with a great slaughter. Boys and girls, God has done great things. And yet the people of Beth Shemesh, it's almost like, what is your head full of? They're not thinking, okay? They're not thinking at all, and they look in the Ark of the Covenant, and God's like, you were not supposed to do that. He kills 50,070 of them because they did something they weren't supposed to do. Boys and girls, is obedience important? It sure is. Obedience is very important. They'd been given special directions for the Ark of the Covenant, and they were not following those directions. Boys and girls, there was a lot to cover in that lesson. I hope you could listen fast and I wasn't flying too fast for you. But a couple important things we want to know. Yeah, flying, that's right, Peter. One is, boys and girls, our God is so powerful. The God of the Bible is so, so powerful. And then as we kind of hit on the end there, that the people of Beth Shemesh who should have known better, who knew God, who were Israelites, which I guess maybe I should have clarified that. Beth Shemesh is a city in Israel. These are Israelites. They should have known what to do with the Ark of God. And yet they're the ones who looked inside of it. And then the Lord judged them. Boys and girls, the things that are of God. We don't have the Ark of God here at church. And you don't have it at your church either if you're listening from somewhere else. But we do have things from God. That's right, God's Word. Do you treat it with respect? Now, God's Word we are supposed to open. We're commanded to open it, to read it, to look at it, to meditate, to memorize it. But do you treat it with respect? Or do you just toss it in the corner? How do you treat God's Word? How do you treat the things of God? How do you treat God's house? That's good, Peter, do you take care of it? Or do you treat it like anything else? Boys and girls, I hope you have a special respect for God, for His Word, for His name, that you don't take His name in vain, and that when you're being taught about God's Word that you pay attention. Well, boys and girls, that's right, all ears, Peter. When God's Word is preached, all ears. Boys and girls, we'll see you next week. Hard to believe it'll be the first week in May, and I'll be a whole nother year older come a couple days from now. See you.